When you're standing in a kitchen that's trying to balance a restaurant-level output with a modest countertop, the decision to add a slicer feels like a gamble. You worry about spending a chunk of money on a machine that might sit under a dusty shelf, or you wonder if the slice thickness will stay consistent enough to keep your sandwiches looking professional. The goal of this review is to help you figure out whether the Berkel Volano B2 Flywheel Slicer actually delivers on the promises of precision, durability, and daily convenience, or if it's just another piece of equipment that looks great on paper but falls short when you fire it up for real work. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I spent a few days watching how the Volano B2 fits into a compact prep line, reading the manufacturer's notes, and scanning the handful of user ratings that are out there. The main tension most buyers face is the trade-off between space and capacity. You want the slice volume you'd expect from a full-size deli slicer, but you don't have a whole wall to dedicate to it. The Volano B2 tries to resolve that by packing Italian tradition in a compact size, which basically means a smaller footprint without compromising on the core functionality you need for meats, cheeses, and even firm vegetables. First, let's talk about the setup. The unit arrives on a sturdy pedestal that you bolt directly to the floor, which immediately gives it a feeling of permanence, something you rarely get with countertop-only slicers. The flywheel mechanism is housed behind a sleek red panel, and the whole thing feels like it belongs in a professional kitchen. The assembly is straightforward. You attach the pedestal, plug the machine in, and the flywheel motor engages with a soft hum. There's no need for complex wiring or calibration. The slicer is essentially ready to go after you tighten a few screws. For a kitchen that already has a tight schedule, that simplicity translates into minutes, not hours of downtime. Now onto daily usability. The Volano B2 offers a range of thickness adjustments that you can lock in place with a single knob. In practice, I found the increments to be fine enough for deli-style ham, thick enough for a roast beef slice, and precise enough to shave a Parmesan wheel for pasta toppings. The sharpening precision claim isn't just marketing talk. The blade stays razor sharp after multiple passes through a typical day's service. And you can engage the built-in sharpening wheel without pulling the slicer apart. That's a real time saver compared with models that require you to send the blade out for servicing. Safety is another area where the Volano B2 distinguishes itself. A guard slides over the blade automatically when you press the power button off, and there's a safety interlock that prevents the motor from starting if the guard isn't fully closed. In a busy environment, that interlock stops accidental starts when someone is reaching for a slice, which is a subtle but significant peace of mind. The emergency stop button is large and easy to locate, so if anything does go awry, you can cut power instantly. Cleaning and hygiene are often overlooked in slicer reviews, but they matter every day. The Volano B2's design incorporates removable food trays and a quick-release blade cover. You can wipe down the housing with a damp cloth, slide the blade out for a brief rinse, and reassemble in under 5 minutes. There's no labyrinth of crevices where food particles hide, which means you're less likely to run into cross-contamination issues during health inspections. The only minor inconvenience I noticed is that the drip tray is a bit shallow, so you have to empty it more frequently if you're slicing very juicy items like salami. So who should consider buying this slicer? If you run a small to medium deli, a boutique sandwich shop, or even a high-end home kitchen that values restaurant-grade consistency, the Volano B2 offers the right blend of capacity and footprint. Its ability to handle a variety of foods, from thin-sliced prosciutto to thicker cuts of roast pork, means you won't need to purchase separate machines for each product line. The built-in sharpening and safety features also make it attractive for staff who may not be slicer experts. The learning curve is gentle, and the risk of accidental injury is mitigated. On the other hand, if your operation is primarily a coffee bar or a bakery that only needs occasional cheese slices, the investment may be more than you need. The pedestal adds weight and takes up floor space that could be used for additional prep stations, and the price point sits higher than basic countertop models. Similarly, if you require ultra-high volume output, think a large catering kitchen that processes dozens of pounds of meat per hour, the Volano B2's premium capacity might still fall short compared to industrial-grade slicers that have larger feed trays and more powerful motors. Let's dig into the practical strengths one more time. The most tangible value comes from the combination of a consistently sharp blade and the ease of adjusting slice thickness on the fly. In a real-world scenario, that means